A listener production.
Hey, it's Antoinette Lattouf with the Weekend Briefing, and it's where we hit pause on the headlines and instead deep dive into one person's story. And today's guest I'm so excited about. It is Australian screen legend Claudia Karvan. She's been acting since she was 10. Well, that's when she landed her first film role, and she's been part of so many iconic moments in entertainment ever since. And that includes things like The Secret Life of Us and Bump on Stan and so many in between. In this chat, she shares a Christmas treat for Bump fans, reflects on how growing up in a King's Cross nightclub shaped her, and opens up about the surprising and sometimes pretty confronting things she's still learning about herself and her country. Later in the show, it is the Weekend List. That's when Helen Smith and I give you tips on what to watch, see, eat and listen to, and everything in between, because we are generous like that. But first, here's my chat with the inimitable Claudia Karvan. Claudia, welcome to the Weekend Briefing.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited about this chat. There's so much to cover, but I want to start kind of at the very beginning and your childhood and what it was like growing up with your parents running a hot nightclub in King's Cross. Did you ever question whether this was a regular child's life, or did you just think it was normal at the time?
I definitely questioned it because I was quite self-conscious because I went to a girls' private school in Darlinghurst.
Yeah.
And the street that I lived in was out of bounds. So over the, I'm not joking, over the tannoy, the principal would say any girls seen walking past King's Cross down Victoria Street will be out of bounds and be given a detention. And I was listening. I was like, I live on that street. I have to walk past King's Cross station to get home.
Oh my
so
gosh.
When your
Did you
child...
raise that? Did you raise that?
No, I was too embarrassed.
Yeah,
I was just
okay.
like... I just felt self-conscious. You know, when
Yeah.
you're a teenager, well, I think I was in primary school, but you don't want to stand out when you're a
Yeah.
teenager. You just want to fit in, you want to conform.
Okay.
And then I had like a sleepover at my house in primary school, and I remember when the mum dropped off the kids, she's like, oh, well, it all happens around here, doesn't it, girls? And I was like, oh, God, I live in a weird place.
And you've said that you and your brothers used to scour the dance floor for drop treasures before school. What was the best or maybe strangest thing you found?
Probably drugs.
Okay. But would you know what it is when you're that young, or you could kind of figure it out?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Like a foil of something. Yeah. But money, of course. You're always looking for 50 cents or, $20 note or something.
It's so funny. You don't understand value when you're a child because you're like, I'm looking for 50 cents, but here's a bag of Coke.
I did find a beautiful, 18th century cuff, like an antique engraved cuff once. That was treasure.
Yeah. What did you do with that? Do you remember?
I held on to it for a long, long time. I think I gave it to someone recently, actually, literally 40 years later.
And so you've said that you love rules, but your mum was a punk, and in the school tuck shop, other students called her a punk. Do you think that you became who you are, because people often rebel against what their parents are or want them to be?
Yeah, I think we look for balance in all things, I think, us as humans. And, I was always teased and called Sappy from, do you know the show Absolutely Fabulous? It's probably before your time.
No, I do. She's
the good
straight daughter.
The straighty 180 daughter.
Yeah.
So I was Sappy and my mum was Absolutely Fabulous. So that was the role I played in the family. We all have to play our roles, don't we? So I was, much more conventional. My parents think I'm really conventional and a bit of a disappointment. a bit boring.
Surely not. How could you be a bit of a disappointment?
You haven't met my mum.
Okay.
I do love her. She's fantastic, but she'll just tell you how it is.
Well, what does she say? What's it like? What's so disappointing?
God, you're like the police. That sort of stuff. Oh, you're such a goody-goody. That sort of stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay. So your childhood obviously sounds, pretty chaotic, but you've turned out, very grounded, also very well loved. And I think what it shouldn't surprise me, but you've seemed to have managed several decades of career in the public eye and in the entertainment industry without much controversy and still being well loved. How did you manage to pull that off?
It could change any day now.
Yeah, this is true. There is
You're
still
never
time.
safe.
Yeah, still time.
I could name other people in the public eye who suddenly got cancelled at the age of 60. So
yeah, this is true.
So it could happen anytime. The stakes are still really high. Actually, the stakes are getting higher.
Yeah.
I try to just be as honest as I can and as I served on a board for 9 years, the Screen Australia board, so I was a public servant and you have to sign documents.
Right.
And you do develop that sort of, you have to answer to the Australian taxpayer. So listen to me, I'm sounding like, see what I mean?
Yeah, I can just hear your mum rolling her eyes and
yes.
see it.
Like, what are you talking about? No, so I do feel a great sense of responsibility.
Yes.
And I also know that I work in a subsidised industry. Our industry is subsidised by the Australian taxpayer. We get the producer offset. We get subsidies. And if I don't connect with my audience and if I'm not transparent with my audience, then I don't feel like I deserve to be here.
With having a public profile, obviously it comes with some responsibility. And what you have done is spoken about mental health and your family's history of mental health, both your father and your brother. Why do you think it was, important for you to shed light on something that's, particularly when it comes to schizophrenia? I think we're getting better at talking about depression and anxiety, but schizophrenia is still largely criminalised or a topic that's quite taboo. Why did you think it was important to talk about that?
Well, I'm going to talk about my mother again. Clearly she looms large in my life. She still does. I saw her yesterday, actually. We're doing the crossword together in a nursing home. She just one day, she just said to me, why don't you ever talk about your brother in any of your interviews? Which was a great question.
Yeah.
And no one had, only your mother can ask you that question, I guess, which I'm really grateful. She always goes there. And I was like, instinctively I think I didn't want to be seen as a celebrity who was sort of trying to create some sort of worthy topic and drawing attention to myself through something my brother was struggling with. I think that was my prime reason. 2, I didn't know whether my brother even wanted to be spoken about. It's his private life.
Sure.
And 3, I thought I'd probably be out of my depth because even though it's my brother and my father, I still know that when you're in the public eye, then you are expected to be a sort of a spokesperson.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure that I could fill those boots.
Yeah.
Anyway, my mum asked me that question and I said, I don't really know. How would you feel if I spoke about it? And she said, well, I think you should because it sort of feels like you're ashamed of him if you don't mention it, which I thought was terrifying conclusion to draw. So then I asked my brother and I said, how would you feel if you saw an article, you read something in the paper that said Claudia's brother is schizophrenic? And Rupert said to me, is that what I am?
Oh, okay.
Schizophrenic. Is that what I am? Oh, no, I'd like that, Claude. So once he gave me the approval.
Did he not know he was schizophrenic or was he just teasing?
No, he's not teasing. He's it's quite difficult to explain, my brother. I'm sure I don't know how he didn't know. I think he was probably at that stage, at that time he was in an institution and he's been on lots of different drugs. So possibly he was in a bit of a state. Anyway, he's been involved with Australian Story and he's been interviewed and he came and visited me on Dancing with the Stars, and so he knows what's going on, but he doesn't watch television.
Okay. So you've been acting since you were a child, and as I understand, you got your first role in primary school when you were 10. I just want to play a little clip of Molly that
you've done your
found.
research. Listen out for my voice.
Okay.
Did you notice how weird my voice was?
I mean,
when I was 10?
You were a child.
Yeah, but I spoke like this.
Okay, let's play this little clip.
What are you doing here?
Dorothy, dinner's ready.
What is this, Central Station?
He's after my dog.
Dorothy! I'm sorry about this. My daughter, she's,
I'm not.
You are. We're going home.
It's not his dog.
What was wrong with your voice?
At the very opening of the film, I go, I've got 2 dogs. I go, Brutus, cactus, shut up. And all my friends used to tease me about it. I had a very, very husky, like quite a husky voice when I was young, quite deep. Then it sort of got a bit higher and now it's sort of what it is.
So what would you say to younger Claudia today other than, like, why are you speaking with a husky, deep man's voice?
What would I say to my 10-year-old self?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's a great
Like, are you
question.
proud of her? Are you, would you
my 10-year-old self. Oh, wow. What would I say to her? I'd say keep laughing and keep turning up. I think I was pretty open-minded and brave as a 10-year-old, to be honest. When I look back on it now, I didn't know it then.
Yeah.
But I was getting up in the dark, going by myself off to set and engaging with all these different people, like all these kids from Albury Wodonga, part of the Flying Fruit Fly Circus, and making all these new friends and going to stay at their houses. And
That is brave.
I think it's brave now that I think about it. And I was, doing all these scenes and pretending to cry and be upset and try all these new acrobatic techniques. And I was really open and I loved everyone that I worked with. Like, I was really available. And when it finished, I sobbed. I like bawled my eyes out and I made strong connections. So I guess I would say to that 10-year-old, just keep making strong connections with the people who are around you. Keep being available, emotionally available.
We obviously averted the classic child star crush and burn story, and you've worked opposite people like Hugh Jackman, Ethan Hawke, Judy Davis. Who do you think you learnt most from on set? And it may not be any of those big names. It could be somebody else.
Oh, look, I've spoken about her so much. So for I'm going to repeat myself, but Judy Davis for sure.
Yeah.
Mainly because, it was a really intimate job. We were away from home again. I was 14 years away from my family, 14 years old, 7 weeks in Merimbula and the South Coast. And Judy Davis was my mother. And we were working all day, every day together, and we were rehearsing together. And I look back on it now and I know what she was doing as a professional is she was actually seducing me. There's no other word for it. Like, she was building.
Seducing you to the craft of...
No, seducing me. I had to fall in love with her.
Oh, right.
To be her daughter.
Right. Okay.
And I had to be, like, my face had to light up when I saw her and I had to cry when she cried and like just be on the edge of my seat whenever she looked at me.
Okay.
And so she was a consummate actor and she built that bridge, which in different times in my life I've felt that's an uncomfortable role to perform. I know when I did Heartbreak Kid, the producer and the director of that said to me, why aren't you making Alex Demetriadis fall in love with you?
Okay.
Directly, they said that to me. I'm like, I didn't realise that was the brief. I really didn't. And it's a grey territory and it is uncomfortable. So it is great working with professionals who know that that's the territory. We are going to fall in love with each other. We are going to be enamoured with each other. And then when the job finishes, we may go on to be friends or we may just go on to do the other job. And it's not that I'm cold or I'm a fraud or I've pretended to like you. It's just, it's a sort of an ethically odd part of the craft of acting.
Does the relationship usually just end and you move on?
Often.
Yeah.
Not so with, like, for instance, a lot of the cast of Bump.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, Natalie Morris or Paula Garcia I went to Columbia with.
I saw those photos,
Carlos
yeah.
Sanson Jr. I went to Columbia with. Like, all of them I love, like Ioane and Safia. So Natalie, we're catching up tomorrow, 3:00. We're going to have tea, then we're going to drink wine, then we're going to have dinner and, we'll do a puzzle. Like, she is, I call her my TV daughter. She's my daughter for life.
Yeah.
She's my TV daughter for life.
Well, you adequately seduced her then.
Well, it's really uncomfortable. Like, you've got to go in there and then luckily it also was real. It's sincere.
Yeah. Well, there is a bit of a treat for Bump fans because, like many, I was Devo when it was over. I was like, no, like I feel like I'm growing up with this kind of problematic family in many ways, lovable but problematic family. What's in store?
So I think we've already been teased. We've already been called like the John Farnham of television. We said we were gone and now we're coming back already.
Yeah.
We are doing a Christmas movie. So
Okay.
all the way, I don't know if you know that Stan, it's one of their big things. They do Christmas movies
Yeah, I think
every
all
year.
the streamers do.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
I
all
think
the
Stan
streamers do.
started it.
Okay,
sorry.
sorry, yes.
Sorry.
And they do it best. That's
They do
correct.
it best,
Yes.
of course. So they were always saying to us, do you want to do a bump Christmas movie? And we're like, we're actually quite busy making the next series. And where on earth will the Christmas movie sit? What would we do in the story?
Yeah.
And also I am quite conscious as a producer, as quite a creative producer, that doing something like a Christmas movie can be sort of just a commodifier. Like it's a bit of business and it can be seen as a bit cynical.
Yeah.
So we weren't really into it. But then when we finished, we were like, well, now we could do a Christmas movie because we don't have to safeguard Series 6 and Series 7.
Yes.
And we can do this sort of bottle episode. We've set it at the end of episode 10, but before episode 9, if you're familiar with the show.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of
So
my head.
essentially it's just after Ollie has given birth, 8 weeks after Ollie has given birth, but about 8 months before Angie dies. So it's when Angie's in remission.
Okay, yes.
So at Christmas, Rosa, Paula Garcia's character, has invited us all to go on a cruise in Colombia. So the beauty of this is we weren't just coming back and go, oh, great, we can make some more content and have a bit more business. This is actually genuinely paying off on our South American cast and the South American storylines, which is a big part of what Bump is.
Yeah.
And we always wanted to go to Chile or go, but on what budget? And
Stan's budget.
Exactly. We can't do that.
Yeah.
So this was like, we can have a bit of fun. We can do this creative thing where we go to Colombia with a couple of people, shoot some home movie footage, set it on a boat. We passed off Sydney in winter for Colombia, Cartagena in summer.
Yeah, nice.
Tune in to see if we actually managed to do that, pull that off. I think we did.
Yeah.
And it's just a love letter to Colombia, and it's a love letter to the different ways of celebrating Christmas. Like in Colombia, they don't have Santa Claus. Baby Jesus brings all the presents the night before. They celebrate on Christmas Eve. They have different traditions, like on New Year's Eve, they run around their suburb dragging suitcases, empty suitcases, and that's their way of bringing on more travel in that year. They wear like yellow underpants. They have lentils in their pockets for some other reason. They eat a grape at every hour. There's lots of singing and dancing. There's novenas. Great. So we just lent into that. Yeah, so great. Paula Garcia was our guide and we love her. And it became like it's Ross's movie. Rossa wants to show her country to all these Australians from the inner west in Sydney. And we had a ball. It's romantic, it's funny, it's a bit melancholy and sad and reflective.
Is this really the end?
It's really the end. I mean, look, it would be fun to do a Bump horror movie and it'd be fun to do a Bump musical.
Maybe
Bump
a musical.
Bump Easter movie. But look,
do you sing?
Only in the shower.
Okay.
On my own.
Yeah, okay.
So no, I'm pretty sure this is the end.
I want to speak about you've mentioned going to Colombia to celebrate the roots of some of the cast members of Bump. But in another program, Who Do You Think You Are? You did some digging into your family and your history, and you found some pretty confronting things. An orphanage. What's it hard to find things about your past that are painful or not something that you're necessarily proud of, or your family's past?
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for that. I genuinely thought that I wouldn't relate to some names on an old archival document or an old building. So I was completely blindsided and an idiot for thinking that. I even said they said, are you worried about anything? I was like, look, if you unearthed like I had a serial killer answer, I'd be like, great story.
Yeah.
That's how ignorant I was. But then obviously they craft the show like it's a drama. So they script it and they walk you through. So it is a little bit manipulative in that way. And you are walking through the buildings and you're being fed information.
Manipulative towards you as the subject?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
So
in a good way and in an obvious way. They're making an hour of television or whatever it is.
This is the SBS show.
Yes.
Who Do You Think You Are, just in case you're not following.
And I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I think I've watched about 30 episodes.
Yeah.
There's some amazing episodes Don Haney's episode is incredible.
And there's a lot of people who just think that their history is like pretty boring or one-dimensional, and then they
Yes.
find out otherwise.
Well, also, it's just a great way to access history
Yeah.
because then it's not about you. It's just a personal way of, accessing history and architecture and landscape. I mean, my ancestors really delivered. I went to incredible buildings. I went to Cyprus and Central Otago, one of the most beautiful places on planet Earth, where Lord of the Rings was shot. That's where my maternal ancestors sit. And I did not think that I would feel connection to that place. And I've never been there before. But out of all the places I visited, I was like, yep, I can feel my ancestors are here. And I was like, I think I'd probably like to be cremated and my ashes scattered in this area.
Okay.
And that's what I'll do with my mum's ashes as well when she goes. And that's an interesting feeling. I never knew that. I never had felt that before.
What was the most confronting discovery?
Oh, most certainly my great-grandfather. So my father's grandfather. So I was talked through his life. He was the son of an orphan. He was an extraordinary. He performed an extraordinary role in World War One. World War One. So he was a balloonist, which I'd never even heard of that role. So it's like you're like a sort of human satellite or human sort of drone. You're up there in a basket with a hot air balloon, and you're secured to the ground and you're wobbling around, and you are the person making the calls on, okay, the front's coming in on the soldiers are coming in on the west or whatever. They make all those calls. And he survived an attack. He jumped out with his parachute. Most don't survive that. He got given an amazing award. So I was like, oh, this man is amazing. Really celebrating him, very proud of him. The historian was just like salivating. He's like, I don't get to talk about balloonists. I haven't met the ancestor of a balloonist. Your ancestor is just an extraordinary person. I was like, why? Why is he so extraordinary? I was like, they are really important at the front of battles, and that's why they get attacked. So, and they're up there by themselves, because they are an incredible asset. And I was like, why are they an asset? He said, because they're very honest. They're not the people who get up there and if they can't see the front line, they just make shit up. They're the ones who are honest at saying, I don't know, I can't see. That was, and I was like, oh, wow, that is a beautiful trait. And I hope I have that in my genes. So then the next chapter of his story was, I was like, I'm suddenly reading his suicide note.
Oh.
Yeah, which is so confronting. With cameras rolling, I'm like, oh my God. It was just, yeah.
Are you at that time be able to digest, like, I know that this is like content gold, but this is horrible?
No, I'm much more of a punk. I'm just like, these assholes. They've got me and they will never get me again. I am emotional and I won't be this vulnerable again in the rest of the show.
Why
I
not?
I don't like crying in public. It's awful. I don't like it. It's painful. Anyway, that's the human. That was my response, and that's great.
Yeah.
But definitely going through your mind is you've been encouraged to connect with this person, and then they suffer an acute bout of insomnia and kill themselves. So then the first thing that I went to, oh no, I'm going to develop insomnia, and this is going to happen to me.
Yeah.
So it's terrifying. It's really confronting.
Would you do the show again?
Of course. And I would encourage everyone to do the show.
Yeah.
It's amazing. No, I understand the producers and why they have to do that.
Yeah.
But then they had another secret. They had another surprise in store for me.
What was it?
Well, I'd never met my maternal grandmother or my paternal grandmother. Both very close. Like most people have met their grandparents.
Oh, why had you not? Because they didn't approve of the nightclub?
I believed that both of them had died before I was born. So my mum's mum had died, so I didn't get to meet her. And I thought my dad's mum had died because I never had anything to do with her. I never heard anything about her. I discovered on the show that she was still alive when I was 14. So they again expected me to bawl my eyes out.
Did you? At this time, you're like, no bitches.
Exactly. I was like, no bitches. And I did actually just jump straight to, this is not about my own disappointment. This is about what an amazing woman that she just got to do whatever she wanted to what's the expectation there that I should have had a grandmother doting on me and knitting me jumpers?
Yeah.
Like, she was doing her own thing. She was an artist. I'd learnt a lot about her life. She was an amazing woman. And she was living her life. And also there would have been a complexity in the relationship because her son was schizophrenic. So there's a bigger story to play there. It's not about, oh, what? I never got to meet my grandma. So I was laughing my head off and they were going,
aren't you sad?
Yeah, exactly. They were like, you're laughing, but are you really happy? Aren't you sad? I was like, no, I'm on to you guys.
Okay. Did you end up speaking to your mum about why?
Well, my cousins have since come out and they go, oh, my, well, they weren't aware because they had a lot to do with her.
Oh, they weren't aware about you?
They weren't aware that I hadn't met my grandmother or knew anything about her. They were really upset. And they were like, oh, she was fantastic. We went on holidays with her in Malta. And I was like, okay, yeah, thanks.
Did they get the knitted jumpers or nobody got knitted jumpers?
No, she wasn't a knitted jumpers type of woman. She was fun and wild and liked to drink and but I feel like I met her posthumously because of the show. So I'm very grateful to that show.
And there is a current project with SBS that's less of a tearjerker and going into your history, and it's more about discovering Australia, the great Australian road trips. Do you like driving? Are you the episode I've seen you in, you don't do any driving. You have some naps.
Yeah, you get very tired in the passenger seat. It's really weird.
Yeah.
No, Steph did most of the driving. She loves driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing show. So the next episode we go to South Australia, we go to Kangaroo Island, go to places I'd never been before, like Remarkable Rocks, which is just remarkable.
Well, my jaw drops
named.
looking at the scenery. I'm like, I can't, this is Australia and I feel like a bit of an idiot that I haven't seen half of these things.
Well, yeah, I really hope that it does encourage people to jump in their electric vehicles.
Yes.
Or hybrid vehicles.
Yes.
And drive around the country or go for a drive anywhere. It's beautiful. It does great things to your mind just watching the world rush by. And obviously you're going to get out and meet people and talk to people and appreciate the scenery and go to some national parks. I mean, we did incredible things. We went on to a beach, a seal colony. So those little baby seal pups were barking at our ankles.
Yeah.
On Kangaroo Island. Amazing. What a job.
Incredible.
I'm going to pinch myself. That's what I should have told my 10-year-old self. It's like, it's not just going to be about acting either. Like, it's such an interesting career, this job that I have. Like, you also get to do these fun jobs like Who Do You Think You Are and Dancing with the Stars and Great Australian Road Trips.
So you've acted, produced, directed, kind of been in reality TV and had things sprung on you. Which hat feels most like you?
Being in the story room, I'd say.
Development.
Yeah, developing the stories with the writers and shaping the structures and also the older you get and the more you reflect on the world and particularly world politics, you realise that what narratives we are sharing and getting behind are very powerful.
We are seeing more actors or storytellers and artists from a bunch of mediums realising that they have a role to play in talking about world politics, as you've alluded to. And I saw that you were at the March for Humanity.
And you were there too at the front?
I was.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for all the work you do in that space.
And for you, because I'd imagine a lot of your peers or perhaps colleagues or agents, a lot of people are reticent to...
They are, and I don't criticise people who do feel that their job is under threat and there are people who have lost their jobs, so it is high stakes, as you know. Yeah. I'm trying to tell you something you don't know. Schooled. Yes, I did a film in Jordan in 2018 and so I worked with lots of Palestinians and I went to Palestine for the first time and I went completely ignorantly. I knew nothing apart from what I'd sort of subconsciously downloaded from Australian media, which is, as we know now, quite one-sided. So my mind was blown in 2018 and the whole sort of geopolitics of the world just shifted and I did a lot of reading. I went and stayed at the Banksy Hotel in Bethlehem. I did a a walk along what they call the separation wall, which is against international law. Some people call it the apartheid wall. Visited refugee camps in Bethlehem, the first one, and one in Jerash in Jordan. And just since then have voraciously been reading about the conflict and the history of it, and watching documentaries and going to things like the Palestinian Film Festival. And, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I became a member of APAN and, Jewish Voices for Peace. It's a huge story. And I think the most interesting question to ask people when they are involved in a space is, where does the story begin for you, is the most interesting question, because some people say it's Oslo, or some people say it's October the 7th, or some people say, and for me it was my grandfather. So my grandfather was on Her Majesty's service in, according to my dad, in Palestine, but also Malta, Ceylon,
So he was
Cyprus.
a colonialist?
Yes, he was a police commissioner.
Okay.
I've still got his sword. And so according to my dad, he would have been in Palestine when the British had a mandate over Palestine and the Balfour Agreement was signed. So for me, it's like my ancestor was there at the beginning of all this. So it's important to read about it and understand and talk about it.
Do you feel a tide is turning? If we are to go via the tiles people are putting on their social media platforms, I'm seeing more and more actors and singers and other people. It feels like there is some kind of shift, at least in the willingness of people to put their face to their views.
I really hope so. It's better late than never is all I can say on that one.
It has been such a pleasure chatting with you. Thanks, Claudia.
Lovely speaking to you too. Thank you.
That's Claudia Karvan, and you can check out the Great Australian Road Trips, which is streaming on SBS On Demand. It is the best time of the week. It's because it's the weekend list. I get to hang out with Helen Smith. You get to listen to our ideas, and that just makes your life a little bit easier when you're trying to decide what to do with your time and your money. Helen, what have you got?
My first recommendation this week is about the content that you see on Instagram.
Okay.
So it's if you want to try and tailor your content or your algorithm a little bit more, and it's not really tricking the algorithm, but it's just putting in things that, hey, I'm not interested in that, or I want to see more of that, or if there's keywords or phrases that you don't want to come up in your feed, you can actually do that. So if you go on your Explore page and the feed, you can click on any random post. So you click on the post and then you click on up in the top right-hand corner, there's 3 little dots.
Okay.
You click onto that and then you can click at the bottom, it will say Manage Content Preferences.
Okay.
So when you're in there, you can actually put specific keywords. So specific words or phrases. Click into that, phrases that you don't want to see or words you don't want to see, and any content that's related to that won't come up. Or you can actually kind of do the opposite and go into your settings. And a while ago, Instagram did this thing where they were hiding more political content. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and I went in and I said, hey, put it back in.
Put the political content back in.
Yeah.
You can also make sure you're seeing the content you want to see.
Okay.
So,
like what sorts of things, if you don't mind me asking, have you put that you don't want to see?
So it might be like skinny talk, stuff like that.
Okay.
If it's like, I remember when that was happening, skinny talk, or even the tanning stuff, like people promoting tanning products or tanning things that are actually unsafe and might be illegal in Australia.
Yeah.
So it could be content like that. It could even just be an influencer you really don't like, or somebody that you're really just their content doesn't resonate with you.
Yeah.
Putting in their keywords, key phrases that you're like, I don't want that in my feed. I don't want to think about that, or that's creating a negative thought pattern in my head.
And do you find it works once you put it in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. And you can do it for anything really, like, food or if you're getting targeted with shopping things and you're like, that is making me spend more, maybe putting in keywords that you know.
No more things from Iconic or Witchery.
Like, concealer or
whatever it is.
I don't need that. So tailoring that. But then again, you can do the same with, I like this, more content like this, and tell it that I'm interested in this, send me more of that.
Very
so tailoring
good.
your feed a little bit on socials to...
Can we put a little how-to video or guide in the show notes?
Yeah, I've got a video of how to for the political stuff that I can pop in the show notes. I did a while ago. And yeah, I can put little instructions as well.
Fabulous. Okay. So my first recommendation is K-pop Demon Hunters.
What?
Okay. So it's a show on Netflix and it's a cartoon or animation. And it's a world-renowned K-pop girl group. And they balance their lives in the spotlight with their secret identities as demon hunters. Oh, I know it sounds like I'm a 12-year-old girl.
It does.
And the truth of the matter is my children did get me into it.
Okay.
But it's not only the show that is strangely appealing to adults because it is the Netflix most watched animated film ever.
I've seen this come up and was confused because it's a cartoon, isn't it?
I know. When I first saw it, I was like, what is this? And it's all kind of like pink and purple hues and it's so good, right? But it's more than that. It's the soundtrack because the soundtrack is performed by K-pop stars,
Which
predominantly in English, but also mixed with Korean. And I cannot stop listening to the soundtrack. And it includes K-pop superstars like Arden Cho, Mei Hong, Ji Young Yoo, and oh my God, it's so good. And there's a reason it is not only topping the Netflix charts, but some of the songs are topping the Billboard charts. I love the soundtrack. Golden is the song that's topped the Billboard charts. That's in English. But I particularly like one of the songs that is in Korean, and it's called Love Maybe. So if you're not into animation, maybe just check out the soundtrack.
Yeah.
K-pop Demon Hunters.
Right.
I surprised you with this one,
you
didn't
did.
I?
You really did. That sounds like something I would have recommended.
It's really fun. Check it out.
But that does kind of go with what I am recommending next.
Okay.
I'm recommending season 2 of Wednesday.
Oh,
Have you seen that?
Yes, I have.
The Addams Family. Yeah, so it's the next season and it's about Wednesday Addams and she's going back to school, her Nevermore Academy. And this season really focuses on her emerging psychic abilities.
Yeah.
Obviously there's murder and horror.
And she's evil. Like she's got psychic abilities.
She's like low-key evil.
Yeah.
She's kind of like good evil. No, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. But it is quite scary. So I wouldn't watch it with young children because I'm kind of like, oh my God.
It's confronting.
It's horror. But it's, I don't know, it's gruesome kind of. But I'm really liking it. And it is directed again by Tim Burton. So you can really see his style throughout the series. And it stars Jenna Ortega.
She's so good.
She's just great.
She's so good.
It's really good. It's fun. It's escapism. But yeah, that's my one. Not quite as K-poppy and
but I recommend. I have watched season 2 of
it's
Wednesday. Okay, so my recommendation is by somebody I adore and who used to be part of the listener family but is no longer, Lem Zakharia. She was Abby Chatfield's podcast producer. She's just released Twice Displaced, and it's a podcast memoir about her life. And in it, Lem talks about herself being twice displaced. She was displaced as a Palestinian. Her family's displaced living in Jordan. But she also fled Jordan and came to Australia as a refugee, fleeing persecution because of her sexuality as a queer Arab woman. And the podcast is so beautifully told because it's a 4-part series that tells her story, but it's not only, she doesn't only tell it. So she'll be like, when I was growing up, I was never really a girly girl, despite my mum wanting to. And then it'll cut to her mother going, I always tried to put you in dresses, but you never, so everybody in her life of significance helps tell her story. Lem is also a musician and a composer, and she's composed all of the music. So it's just so beautiful to listen to. What I really love about it, it's her personal story, but it looks at things like, the impact of colonialism on the region, her identity, sexuality, and she really just wants to humanise Arab voices and stories and show how different, all the diversity within the community. Beautiful original soundscapes, highly recommend. Twice Displaced by Lem Zakharia, and that's on wherever you get your podcasts.
I've seen this as well, and I've started listening, and it's really, really good.
Yeah. And
Lem is such an amazing person and such a bloody good producer and just media
extraordinaire.
Everything.
Yeah.
So I totally back that one as well.
Okay, that is it. So many great recommendations this week, I've got to say. And you can find more information on that in the show notes. But that is it for this week. It is always such a pleasure hanging out with you, and I would love to hear your thoughts. Tell me what you thought about this chat with Claudia Karvan. Rate, leave a review, and if you're feeling particularly generous, you can rate and review every episode. And the team will be back in your ears on Monday with all the headlines and a fascinating deep dive. I'll catch you next week. Take care of one another.